Was Kay Nichols' review of frankincense from doTERRA really objective and looking at both sides with regards to complete and accurate information? Well, I don't think so. And I'm going to show you, towards the end of this video, because I'm going to do a little review, but I'm also going to have some time-stamped links in the description with regards to where she was only talking about half of the story and how the other half is also needed to make sure you come to an accurate conclusion, because I think she was doing this again, anti-MLM, but it's okay. We still love her. We got love for, everyone. We just may not always like or agree with them. Let's just keep it 100. Okay, without further ado, let's get into the review.
There's been a lot of people sending me private messages and leaving comments about the bottle of frankincense that I showed you guys, where I was like, hey, look, I only got this for $6. Oh my gosh. I did pay $6 for it. It sells typically, I believe, for like $20 from now. And I hear, where was it sourced? They don't have the same sourcing, blah, 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 blah. Okay.
All right, let's hear it. What's going to be the deal here?
Okay. I want to show you guys a couple of things that I found that might help clear some things up. I'm sure that some of you are going to leave some argumentative comments in the description. I'm sorry, in the comments below. But I just need some of you to start thinking a little more clearly, and I'll talk a little bit about that here in a second.
All right, let's hear it. I'm ready.
All right, since I'm really awful at recording my screen and I'm tired and I have a bunch of stuff to do today, this is the extent that I'm willing to work with you. All right.
Right now, we control 84% of the sourcing of our essential oils, and we do so in an exclusive...
See, I'm not sure why she's acting over dramatic, because she was part of the organization for like several years, from what I gather from her other video, like 4 or 5 years at least. You can watch the other one for the exact details, but it's just kind of weird to see her, basically putting on a show right now. And yeah, I get it, there's entertainment value and education value that comes from YouTube videos, but to be a part of an organization for that long and then just kind of, it's almost like mocking, right? I mean, there's one thing for like constructive feedback and even deconstructive feedback to a lesser degree, but like the mockery, I think, given her previous experiences, is telling. And when you look at the other video reviews I did and her response to stuff, it, I guess it explains a lot of maybe her lack of self-awareness, maybe personal responsibility or for taking for things, and her actions. But anyways, let's continue to watch the mockery of what she used to be part of.
Exclusive way, such that no other company can have access to these proprietary oils and where they're grown. Anyone...
Okay, with that in mind, let's move on. Okay, while I pull up this next video, let me give you a little bit of precursor on what this is. This is doTERRA's frankincense oil co-impact sourcing of frankincense essential oil video. And I found this video a long time ago that talks about where doTERRA gets their frankincense and why they do things the way they do. What is alarming to me about this particular video, now this is in doTERRA's words, they admit that before they went into Somalia and started providing the co-impact sourcing and doing like their changes in the organization, because that's really all they're saying, is that they've done changes to the way that it's warehoused, the frankincense, and to the organization structure that's in Somalia, where they particularly get their essential oils. But I want you guys to listen to this.
What you have are individual harvesters who live in villages and will go collect from a region that they have access to by tribal right, and will then sell to shopkeepers in their village, who then sell down to middlemen who eventually get all that resin to a port and sell it to the Europeans and the Arabs and to us and such. This was all...
What? Let's listen to that again.
And will will then sell to shopkeepers in their village, who then sell down to middlemen who eventually get all that resin to a port and sell it to the Europeans and the Arabs and to us and such.
To us? Okay. You've been getting your frankincense that you say is so exclusive. You've been getting it from the ports that also sell it to the Europeans and to the Arabs and to us. It's the same essential oil. This whole video is about how doTERRA went in to some of these communities, these villages we'll call them, where they were already getting their essential oil frankincense, or should I say they're getting their resin frankincense, that other companies were getting their frankincense from that same place. It's the same exact place, and doTERRA went in and just changed the structure. They seem to have created some kind of exclusivity with them, and they changed.
See, what is not being mentioned in her kind of analysis is what percentage is going to the Europeans, the Arabs, as well as doTERRA, and what time frame those were as well. See, that's additional information that, you know, may not be as public information, but I mean, it's certainly important to note as well. I know doTERRA Source to You website mentions that overall doTERRA has an 84% exclusivity with their oils, meaning 84% of the oils that they get from suppliers does not go to other companies. They're raising that up to eventually getting it to 100%. And so again, what percent doTERRA is getting from them compared to the other Europeans, Arabs, as well as what time frame that was as well is going to be important. And she's also taking that clip out of context, because we don't, you know, the age of the video is also something to consider, as well as, you know, they could do an update video as things change. So, and where you source it from is only one part of the equation as well, because what those Europeans and Arabs do with the frankincense is another question. So sourcing is one part of the equation. The other is, once they get those resins, do they cut it with, you know, other contaminants, fillers, or other things to extend the life or profitability of that particular oil? What type of testing is done on the back end to make sure that there aren't any contaminants or fillers or other elements or other even oils? You know, that could also be another factor. So there's a lot missing, I think, from the equation to come to a full and accurate conclusion. I see what she's saying. She's trying to say, hey, there's, you know, if the Europeans and Arabs get it, or Arabs, however you want to pronounce it, then what's doTERRA talking about with their exclusivity? It's the same oil, but we also don't know if it's the same oil when it finally gets into the bottle. Again, it could have been cut, there could have been alcohol solvents, there could be contaminants, there could be fillers, there could be mixtures of other oils with another brand that doTERRA doesn't do. So we have to keep that in mind too. More information, I would say, and more accurate information before coming to a conclusion is kind of my input on this.
Change the way that the organization is run. They didn't change the frankincense that they were getting for the same price, the same frankincense as other companies were getting it.
You don't know about the same price because again, you don't know what percent each constituent is getting from that particular supplier, because there could be bulk discounts or different discounts depending on what type of contract or relationship you have with them. So we don't know. That's an assumption, right? So there's a lot of assumptions that she's kind of building in that may not be fully accurate when you look at the end consumer's experience with that particular bottle or brand.
Does this make sense to you guys? I just want to make sure I'm making sense, because
it makes sense, but we have to question for the information being complete and accurate. That's the key, and there's a lot of information that we don't have, and so more research I think would be necessary.
That's what I'm hearing. The harvesters sold to the shopkeepers, who sold to the ports, who sold to the Europeans, the Arabs, and to us. And that's when they decided to kind of go in and inspect where they were getting this stuff from, and they decided to change. You can watch the video yourself. They decided to do this co-impact sourcing. I can't justify how you go from the $20 bottle to a $100 bottle. And then to say that $80 price difference between every bottle that's sold is what is helping the co-impact sourcing, and it's
Because that's assuming that the bottles are exactly the same with regards to the frankincense. Just because a manufacturer or company sources them from a similar or the same company doesn't mean that what's in that bottle is 100% pure frankincense that has not been adulterated. That's the other thing to keep in mind. And so I'd have to watch the full video that she's referring to make sure I understand it in full, complete context, because when you do clips and snippets like this, you don't get an idea of what time frame was the video made, and I didn't memorize the video, so I'd have to look at it in full context. But that's the thing, when you take things out of context, and then we have missing information as to, what percent the companies actually, purchase from them, and what percent of the bottle is frankincense, and, you have to do GCMS testing to see the chemical constituents to make sure that the bottles are the same too. We don't know what Europeans, we don't know what, Arabs, we don't know what percent each one got. Again, I'm kind of re-emphasizing that point, but there's a lot of information that we don't have, is my point, and we have to make sure that we have complete and accurate information before we come to a conclusion.
it's a huge leap to say that you're going to justify $80 per bottle. Here's the catch. I was with doTERRA for many years. I never once bought a bottle of frankincense. I know, which is, you're probably, oh, well, you had a lot of them. I sure did. Sure golly did. Never once paid for it. You get them for free, kind of a lot from the company. So I'm trying to figure out, my goodness, like, I wonder how many people have actually paid for a bottle of frankincense from doTERRA. That's just kind of a side note, because I know I never did.
Well, just because you didn't doesn't mean that is representative of everyone else, and unless you have sales numbers, you won't be able to qualify that statement. So again, she's really good at making assumptions off of limited information and coming to conclusions that I would say are questionable at best. Like, you don't have the sales numbers for frankincense, doTERRA. Like, at convention, they talk about how much oils are sold and things like that, and sometimes they go into more details with regards to how many bottles are sold and stuff like that at post-convention tours. And unless she's referring to information that came directly from doTERRA with regards to sales numbers, then yeah, there are specials, there's giveaways, there's the oils they give away for free. But if you're questioning what a company's profitability or quality or price or things like that, I think, again, more information is needed for sure.
I'm sick of this.
So you're going to eat something that has artificial flavors and other questionable ingredients because you're sick of what? You're sick of watching videos and not having all the information and price differences between brands. I'm not sure what point she's trying to make.
So I want to talk a little bit about confirmation bias. So confirmation bias is essentially like when we take little tidbits of information to help confirm what we've already believed about something, and everybody does it, and it's a big part of like why normal people get sucked into doing MLM companies.
Or when people have anti-MLM positions as well, or when they were for MLMs and then became anti-MLM like herself. So everyone has a confirmation bias. Not everyone is aware or honest about their own. It's the key is just honesty and awareness, I think, and that's the key. All right, so let's see what she has to say. It sounds like some stuff that either I would say or that she's learned from a video of mine or maybe somebody else, but here we go.
One of the elements of confirmation bias that I want to point out is pricing bias. So yeah, a lot of you guys are saying that, yeah, you can't get a quality product for only $20. If I paid $100 for it, I know that it's quality. That's pricing bias. So if you're presented with 15 essential oils that are all priced, they're all frankincense, hypothetically, let's just say they're all frankincense, and they're priced between $6 and $20, just randomly. But then there's one that's $100. It's gonna make you question the quality of all of these just because of that price. It will make you start to reevaluate the pricing on all these other essential oils. If you removed that one that cost $100, then you're basing it off of the ones that you have in front of you. So doTERRA as a company is the one that's charging $100 for a bottle.
First of all, it's not $100. So if we look at prices for the US, frankincense is actually $93 retail for the 15 mil and $69.75 for the wholesale. And then depending on where you're at in the loyalty rewards program or others, you can get up to 30% of that 69.75 back in product credits. So, you know, there's a little bit more to the price than what she's saying. So, you know, it's important to factor in the you know, end all be all price. Okay, so I understand what she's saying about price, but in order to compare products, yeah, price is one aspect, quality is the other, and so to verify quality, GCMS testing is kind of the standard way to do it. There are some other tests that could be done that may be a little bit more difficult for the public to do or see, but I think that would be the next step to kind of see, like, hey, if doTERRA is charging more, then is their oil quality better? And she's saying it's not because they get it from quote unquote the same people. But I'd also again have to watch that video and see what context things are being said in with time frames and, you know, and all that stuff. The next step would be looking at quality and the GCMS test results. And then the next step after that would be looking at service. So what type of service do you get from, yes, doTERRA's customer service, but also wellness advocates and, you know, the level of response time, the communications that you get, the training, and things like that. So there's more elements here to the price, and I know some people were anti-MLM. They're like, well, I don't want to pay for the, you know, the pyramid scheme or the MLM structure. I just want to get my oil and call it a day. And they're usually the ones that are very price sensitive to begin with. So, you know, this price sensitivity goes both ways, especially if you know, you hear verbiage like that oil is too expensive, or, you know, I can't afford an oil, which I've done videos on, and that has more to do with what you value and your mindset. So let's hear what she has to say about price some more.
doTERRA as a company is the one that's charging $100 for a bottle of this stuff, where these other companies are charging normal prices. Price does not equal value. We can look into something called the price effect. There is actually brain scans that were done, where brain imaging, and the part of the brain that is the reward center of the brain was triggered when somebody was using something that cost more. So it was actually chemically doing stuff to your brain. When you pay more for something, that the reward center in your brain is more highly rewarded. Oh, well, that's confirmation bias. That's the pricing bias. They also did a study to show that they took the exact same product, let's say my remote, and we took my remote and somebody bought it for $10 and then somebody bought it for $50, and this little study that they did was showing that when people pay more for something, they genuinely feel like it's doing something better for them.
But feelings are different from facts. So she's using anecdotal evidence, you know, a remote. She's using, you know, a study. But what I would like to see is, you know, links to the information, so I can, you know, look at those. Because whenever you hear the word study or research, and this goes for me, you know, I encourage people to do this with me as well. You also want to look at, number one, is that study telling you everything, and who's funding it? And when you do get that information, you also want to look at, is the information complete and accurate? Are they telling both sides? If not, then you need to do, you know, look at another study that talks about something, you know, the opposite point of view. And those are things that I think, you know, aren't factored into information when you're trying to make a point. And, you know, I try to be balanced. The reason why I focus on balance is because you get more perspective and you can come to a more accurate conclusion because you have both sides of the coin, not just one. But let's continue to hear what she has to say here.
So that's a big part of the confirmation bias. You can look into some of the studies. I'll try to include some of the links down below in the description. But paying more for something makes you believe that it's better for you. And these companies know that. So yeah, they're gonna have you pay 5, 6, 7 times more for something, because if you do, you're going to believe that it's doing something for you.
But again, she's just focusing on price, which I can understand, but you also have to look at quality and the verification of that quality. So I haven't seen that done anywhere in this video. We only have a little bit left of this, and there hasn't been one GCMS test result being presented from Now Essential Oils or doTERRA's frankincense essential oils, looking at the chemical constituents, seeing the differences and similarities, and seeing if there is an actual difference that is significant. So that would probably be the next step, is what I would say that would need to be done in order to come to an accurate conclusion. Otherwise, she's just saying you pay more, you believe it's better, or they pay more because doTERRA is basically, you're sucked in and you're paying more, and they get it from the same people, so it's the same oil, but again, we don't know what the companies do once they get it from a company, and we don't know what time frame that was, and we don't know what percent of an order they're getting, because you get bulk discounts sometimes when you work with certain suppliers, or you get exclusivity discounts when you work with certain suppliers. And so there's a lot more that's not being mentioned here. It's because we don't have the information. And again, to do a video like this is cool, but at the same time, everyone needs to go in with an eye for the truth, right? And really the truth should be the standard for what we believe in, not just believing her or believing me or believing some study about higher price equals better feelings, or feeling this or feeling that. Feelings are great. Feelings are drive us to make a decision. We buy emotionally, we justify our purchases rationally. That's how the purchasing process works, right? We felt some type of way, we felt good, we felt joyful, we felt happy, so we made the purchase decision, and then we justify it later and say, well, I had about $100 left after my paycheck, so I was good. I was good, or I can stop eating, or drinking Starbucks for a week or two to justify that purchase or something. There's ways you can justify stuff on the back end. But let's continue to hear what she says.
And as far as why did I get rid of all of those essential oils if I still plan on using essential oils, I want to remind some of you of what happened to Nike. Do you remember a little while back Nike was in the news because people were burning their Nikes? And the reason why people throw out things when they no longer support a company's ethics is because they don't want to advertise it in any way. So I took all of the doTERRA stuff in my house and removed it from my house.
So your alternative was getting some product like Tums and eating it for something with regards to how you were feeling, or some type of indigestion or something like that, even though they have artificial ingredients and aren't good for your body. There's a lot of other side effects that could come with that too. So like, you believe in Tums, but you don't believe in natural, even though you used to be a part of natural for many years. So I get what she's saying, right? Your beliefs drives your decisions drive your results. One of her decisions was to just get rid of doTERRA, so she's not either indirectly or directly advertising them. But at the same time, you're advertising other companies that contradict what you used to be a part of. So I mean, we all have contradictions, right? I have contradictions. We all make mistakes. We all say or do things that maybe aren't in line with everything. If somebody had a magnifying glass or a camera following us everywhere we go, but to go from those extremes, like, even if you don't do Tums, like if you just had some peppermint oil from another company, I think that would be better, but not, obviously I'm for doTERRA, so that still wouldn't be better than doTERRA's peppermint, but I don't know, it seems a little bit more contradictory without acknowledgement, I think, of that, is what I'm trying to say. Like, yeah, there we go.
Now, I could have thrown it all into the trash. I could have done the burn the Nikes thing, but that felt wasteful to me. So I gave them to somebody that wanted them, that asked for them, that I know personally. So they're gone. Please stop emailing me asking me for them. Guys, come on. Don't. That's ridiculous.
Well, you put it in your video that you're like, hey, I'm looking to get rid of these. So, like, you put it in the video. I mean, yeah, you can do an update in the description and comment section. But, when you say something in a video and it gets, over 100,000 or 200,000 views, like, people are going to continue to ask you for stuff. So, which is interesting. Which shows that it has value to somebody, and a lot of people, actually. So, doTERRA has over 7 million customers worldwide. So, a lot of people benefit from it, even if she or Kay doesn't benefit from it. But here we go.
So anyhow, that was, to me, the thought process is I just there's certain companies that I don't support. I'm not going to name names right now because I'll end up going into a rant about them, but I've just added doTERRA to that list, and I don't have their products in my home because I don't want somebody to see it in my house and ask me about it and then feel like, well, then if Kay is using this brand, then maybe I should use this brand. That's how that works. So I removed them from my house. I just don't want them. All right. Drop any questions or comments below. I'm sorry this is a bit scattered and that I recorded downstairs because my birds are being super loud. All right, I've got to get back to some actual work. Bye.
All right, so the main thing that I want to mention, because this is like a mini update, because I responded to her, little, frankincense rant / video review herself, and then I also looked at the actual frankincense video from doTERRA, and what she was describing was, how Europeans and Arabs and doTERRA basically get their frankincense from a community within Somalia, and that was the old way of doing things. Okay, that was how middlemen were involved, and they were not treating the people very well at all. And how doTERRA provided a new way of doing things where there was more exclusivity. Number one, they were able to establish a direct cooperative with the people, meaning the people get to benefit more with jobs and a higher quality of life and a better relationship with doTERRA. And on top of that, doTERRA at convention mentioned how, Source to You talks about an 84% exclusivity with their suppliers. And then at convention, it was mentioned it was in the 90s. And then eventually doTERRA will get to 100% is what they said at convention. So that means from their suppliers, they're going to get 100% of the oils from them, and those oils from their suppliers aren't going to go to any other competitors or other people or companies and things like that. So that is on the horizon, right? So there's a transition process, because her main point of the video was doTERRA's high price, but they're getting it from the same people, and the other companies have lower prices, so why is doTERRA charging this high price? Whew, there's more to the story, okay? There's more to the story. And that's my encouragement to people is like, okay, and she mentioned confirmation bias. I talk a lot about that. She has confirmation bias too. She is anti-MLM, so she's going to look for things in videos and directly cut out only the things that benefit her agenda that she's trying to push, to make it seem like, well, doTERRA is getting their oils from the same places that the Europeans and the Arabs is getting too, so why is doTERRA $100? Which isn't the actual price because it varies by country, so she's not fully accurate. But then, it's just like, come on now. You guys show the other part of the video too, where doTERRA provided a new way of life for people and more exclusivity and other things with the people, and a cooperative and a direct relationship that didn't involve the Europeans and the Arabs, right? I mean, like, we leaving out some really important information, girl. Like, for real? You gonna do that? Like, even if I was against MLMs, I would still provide that and say there was an old way and there's a new way. Now it's important for us to dig deeper and find out what percent is exclusivity doTERRA has with their frankincense supplier in Somalia or suppliers, and how much area is there to pull oil from? Is it sustainable? Because they mentioned about how the extraction process, if the scratches on the bark are too deep or they're too many, it's going to deteriorate the possibility of taking that from that in the future with the resin, the frankincense resin. So it's like, come on, we gotta, try to look at things more fully and gosh, just, whew, now I'm going on a slight rant. Oh, goodness. What a point I'm trying to make is it's important to look at both sides of the coin to come to an accurate conclusion, and hopefully you look at the videos I make, and you look at hers, and maybe look at a few other resources and come to a accurate conclusion, not just looking at hers and be like, see, doTERRA is overpriced and we just need to calm down. You know what I'm saying? Just calm down. Well, that concludes today's video. Once again, thank you for watching. Hit the like button if you did. Hit subscribe for future video updates. And most importantly, check out the links in the description below so you can watch the video that I have on frankincense and the compilation video, as well as Kay's video and my other video review of hers and other stuff, or just other videos on my channel. So you can check that out, and I'll see you in the next video.